Hi, welcome to the NIRI 2019 annual conference here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm joined by Evan Schnidman of Prattle. Thanks so much for joining us, Evan.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So you participated in a really interesting general session earlier about the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Can you talk to us a little bit about how that factors into what Prattle does?
Yeah, absolutely. At Prattle, we're a research automation firm. So we specialize in analyzing complex, nuanced, market-moving language. We started out by looking at central banks. We've since applied that to every publicly traded corporation in the United States. So we look at every single one of their publicly available primary source communications, earnings calls, speeches by corporate officers, investor days, everything released on the corporate website, press releases. So it ends up amounting to about 5 million documents a day.
That's a pretty significant number of documents.
I'm glad I don't have to read them, I'll put it that way.
Sure, absolutely. And so then how is the information that you gather from that used by the buy side?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're able to do is we're able to essentially build a unique lexicon for each individual company based on how the market has responded to that company's prior communications. The end result is we're actually able to provide a singular quantitative score representing how the market is likely to respond to a new communication as soon as it's made available.
That's amazing. And so we hear a lot about how the buy side are using really interesting tools like this. Do you have much of a sense of how IR teams are using this or the potential for IR teams to use tools like Prattle?
Yeah, so we've been selling this to the buy side for a couple of years now, and it's obviously scaled nicely, and largely with hedge funds and increasingly with the large asset managers. It's really only been in the last 7 or 8 months that we've been targeting the investor relations world. The IROs love what we're doing. You know, we've been able to build some features that really appeal to them, including the ability to input language ahead of time and see how the market is likely to respond to that language.
Sure. And I believe you mentioned in the general session as well that you can drill down specifically to individuals, right? So you could follow an individual from company A to company B, presumably, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So we can actually track individual speakers across multiple companies, compare them to their peers at other companies or to the other executives within their own company.
That's amazing. And so the net product of this is that there's a kind of a positive negative score? Is that how it works? Like, what's the kind of end product?
Yeah, so it's actually a singular quantitative score representing the likely impact on the company's stock price. So it's not just that it's positive or negative. We actually provide, it's literally designed to identify how is this going to impact price movement.
Wow, okay. And since studying, let's take the earnings call as an example. Since studying the earnings call, what are like a couple of things that senior management can do that may have a negative effect on the
Yeah, the big thing is be consistent. You know, the thing that our system looks for and that any automated system is going to look for is how are you behaving differently from before? And is that behavior net positive or net negative? And there's some linguistic cues that people don't think about as being positive or negative. For instance, formality of language. It's just human nature that when we're announcing bad news, we try to distance ourselves from it, so we become increasingly formal with our language. We use full names, first, middle, and last name, and immediately the psychological effect is that brings us all back to our mom yelling at us as a kid. Sure. And so it's a really big challenge for both the IRO, but also the executives to be able to restrain their language and keep an even keel, keep the same tone, the same inflection, and really the same linguistic cadence across good news and bad.
And it's fascinating because, you know, IR teams are so focused on the message, getting the message right, honing in on the message, and this is about the delivery as much as the message.
Absolutely, and it's about the delivery, and it's about really the changes in delivery, and how do you stay consistent in that messaging over time, and really even out the reaction that the market could or should have.
Sure. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Evan. I hope you have a wonderful conference.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you.